Man, y'all know the face, y'all know the name. Y'all tuned into the world's greatest podcast, Talking Cheap Podcast, hosted by yours truly. It's the Movie Clears for Talk. I got a special friend with me, man, and y'all know this by now. I don't introduce people. I think that kind of shortchanges the brand of the other person. Why? Because I feel like the brand should speak for itself, and therefore I will allow my guests to be able to introduce themselves. So, guests, please introduce yourself.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I was on my way here. I was definitely thinking about how I'm gonna introduce myself. I guess my name is Mogson Glay. 24. I'm a high school basketball coach and trainer. I don't know what else to really say.
I'm an Aries. I ain't your long walks.
I'm a Cancer. You feel me? But I ain't emotional like what a lot of people say. But I don't really care about horoscopes either. But yeah, that's about it.
Most definitely. Shout out to my bro Mog. Like I said, I wanted to do this episode because I've been seeing a lot of the work that Mogson has been doing in the community in terms of like coaching young kings and kids, through basketball. Learning life lessons through basketball and stuff like that. So did you come up with a title yet? Like for this episode?
Coach Mogson. We can just
go
Mogson,
with that. Yes,
simple,
sir.
Like me.
So do you believe that's what your calling in life is?
Yes, definitely.
At what point did you realize that coaching was what you want to do? Yeah.
Honestly, it was probably like 3 years ago. It was about 3 years ago. Mind you, I've been coaching for, it's about to be my 6th year.
Wow. So you was coaching in high school?
Nah. I started coaching in 2014. When I came back from school, I was chilling. Like I was really like, 'cause I left. I came back from school in the beginning of the spring semester, but I transferred late, so I couldn't go to school right away. So I wasn't in school until the fall. So I'm chilling and I was just like, mind you, I just came back. You know how it is to get a job out here. So I was literally just doing like side shit that my mom put me on to, like fixing people's computers and shit, or extra shit. And I was bored. I don't like being in the crib. So I ended up going to Coach Buck, Curtis coach, asked him actually when I was on my way there, my first plan was to just ask him like, yo, can I help out with the team, be a manager, but while I was there, I was like, yo, I don't really fuck with this nigga like that. I never really, I keep it, that's really what it is. Like,
yo, I ain't even mad at you.
Funny thing, I keep it a buck. I never really, me and him never really got along, but I just wanted something to do in the meantime until school started. And by the time I got there, I was like, I don't fuck with him. Like, why am I even here? But I was already there. So when I got there, I was like, do you know of any way? I just asked him, like, yo, do you know of any way, like, I can get into coaching to help a team? Like, not Curtis, just a team. And then at first, he actually was, like, happy. Like, he surprised me OD because he was like, he knew I was going to be a coach. Like, off rip. Like, so from off rip, he tried to get me to coach at St. Joe's.
The Catholic school?
No, the D3 college in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he knew the coach. The coach was a Staten Island dude. I can't remember his name. Joseph something, I think it was. But the reason why I ended up not coaching it was the athletic director at the school wanted me to go to that school. He was like, it was been a conflict of interest if I was going to another school and then doing it. In my opinion, I thought it was bullshit, but I didn't really want to push it too much because I ain't have no credentials or anything. Like, off rip,
you didn't feel you had leverage.
Yeah, like, plus, even if I was to go to that school, I'm not paying that tuition just to coach. At this moment, I didn't really care about coaching that much. Yeah, I think about it. So I texted Buck and I told him what happened. He was like, well, you can go on this website. It was nycbasketball.org, I think that's what it was. Basically, this blog site where people in New York City, like parents and fans and shit of the high school basketball scene, just talk about shit. He's like, go on it and you can post a blog about it, a post, and see if you can get an opportunity. That's what I did. Literally, like 2 days later, a coach hit me up. He asked me to call him. I called him. We just chopped it up. He said, come in. You can look at the team. We'll do like a short interview. He ain't even interviewed me when I got there. Just as soon as I got there, like I was already like talking to him about basketball, and then he heard about the Curtis team, so he liked me over rip, and that's what it was. It just was The rest was like history.
So he didn't know anything about what you knew in terms of basketball. He just knew that you went to Curtis and.
Nah, we like when he was showing me around the school and whatnot. We was talking about basketball and stuff like that, but he ain't really give me like a full interview like what I was expecting. Like it definitely wasn't that. It was regular like a regular conversation. He was talking ball here and there, like who I am as a person, whatnot. And mind you, by that time that I ended up getting that thing, I was in school now. So like it went from like me being talking to Buck, it was probably like it was because the season was still on when I went to go talk to Buck. So it was probably like February of I think it was 2014, February 2014. I was trying that shit with St. Joe's for like 2 months to start the next season so I can be an assistant coach for them. By like October, that's when I started speaking to this Brooklyn high school coach.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you spoke to the coach. He didn't really ask you about basketball. Like, he asked you about basketball, but he didn't ask you, like, in terms of, like, your credentials or what you knew about basketball. What can you contribute to the team? He didn't ask you any of that.
Nothing.
He just saw you as a person and was like, yo, I could.
Yeah. And throughout the years, though, me coaching him, I understood why that went like that.
And why do you feel it worked like that?
Coach Thornhill, shout out to him. He's like my mentor right now. I look up to him like a big brother. Even him and the assistant coach as well, who they were best friends. They still are. I mean, still are. But both of them, Keith Harvey, they're my mentors right now, and they're actually who I do my basketball academy with. But them two dudes stand up. Like they were probably in like their early 30s when I first started, young coaches. So and Thornhill, he like was one of those dudes that like traveled a lot. He's a teacher, but he travels a lot during his off season, so he's very cultured. And he's from Ohio, but lived in New York City for like the last 15 years, right? So just as a person, like he's all about like being a mentor to like younger people and like the black community. He's always so like he's involved with like that inner city youth, and that's like his whole life. Everything he's done teaching wise, his reason for even starting a coach was all about the youth, like. And I think he probably just seen me as like someone that he can mentor as well, and he can look out for as well, just like one of his players.
I feel it. I like this a lot. That's dope as hell. So you get this opportunity to coach at this high school. So what position did you get first? Did they like, hey, you're the JV head coach, or were you an assistant coach?
I was assistant coach for the varsity team.
Okay, so you're the assistant coach for the varsity team.
At first, it was like I was to just help out, you know what I mean, wherever I can, input. Or maybe that's what I thought I was going to do, because we didn't really talk about what exactly my role was going to be. It was just you can be one of the assistants. But off rip, like I started connecting with the players. Mind you, I was, 19 at this time. So I'm still kind of really close to their ages of high school seniors and juniors. And I think the thing that helped me the most was one of the sophomores was a lefty, and I'm a lefty. So I connected with him off rip. And then I think the first practice, I remember, like, he was doing something, but he was struggling to learn it from the other coaches because they're righties. And us lefties, we got like a different, I don't really know how to explain it, but I was able to connect with him and get him to understand what the head coach was trying to get off from a lefty point of view, like, because they was just doing skill drills at that time. And that helped show, I guess, the head coach that I knew something, I guess, or I knew what I was doing. And I think that helped out, like, earlier on. And then later on, like, by midway through the season, I was helping, like, drawing up plays. Like, he trusted me. Like, I can't, randomly, I was on a ferry. I remember I used to carry, like, this book, like, and I used to just draw out plays, because that's always been my thing. Like, even in high school, when we learn plays in practice, on the way home, I'm writing it out, because when I write stuff out, it helps me remember it more. So I was just drawing out a play, and then just out of a joke, showed it to him. It was like, shit, this shit might work. And we tried it in practice that day, and we ended up using that practice to this day. We still run that. And there's a different head coach right now that I'm working with, and we still run that same play.
What's the play called?
5. It's a simple 5 motion play, but
it's a different kind of motion. It's probably like more stagger screams, or probably something you probably picked up from one of your favorite players.
We ran it kind of in Curtis, but I tweaked it a little bit.
Something more effective?
Yeah.
My bro boxing. That's dope. Okay. So at this point, did you get a head coach position? Like when? At what point did you get your head coach position, and what was that first opportunity? Like, what was that moment when you found that out?
2 years ago. 2 years ago, I became the JV head coach out of like just necessity, because the head coach that ended up first hiring me, Thornhill, he ended up going back to his hometown in Ohio because he got like it was like a principal job, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he ended up going back, bought a house out there, and whatnot. So the JV coaches at the time ended up moving up to varsity. Actually, at first they wanted me to be the head coach of varsity. That was Thornhill's recommendation, but in New York City, because they got a shitty rule, if you're not a employee of DOE, you can't be a head coach. So they was trying to get one of the assistant coaches that was with me, this dude Ernest, because he was some type of computer technician or something like that. They was trying to get him to get a DOE job, so he would be the head coach on paper, and then I would be the actual head coach. Yeah.
So he would just be
working together, yeah. But we couldn't get that to work, so the JV coaches moved up, and now there's a vacant spot on the JV team now. There's no coach. Luckily, the JV head coach who works in the school was able to get another teacher friend he had to be the figurehead head coach and just be there. And it was two teachers actually that took the position just so that whenever one couldn't make it, the other person could be there, because there always has to be one DOE worker there in every practice or every game at a time.
So how does that work in terms of pay? Because not being a head coach might look like, all right, now you're not getting that head coach pay.
Mind you, when I first started coaching varsity, I wasn't getting paid at all. I was assistant, I was not getting paid. Never even talked to us. It was all volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started being the head coach for JV, we just split it 3 ways. Like, to be honest, keep it a buck, I probably should have been taking all that money, because the 2 teachers I was with, great people, I'm still cool with them to this day, but they ain't know shit about basketball. So it was really just me doing everything. Basketball-wise, they were good people as far as, like, they handled the administrative stuff and, like, study hall and stuff like that. They did it with the players, so I guess, yeah, but for the most part, I did everything.
Do you think that you could have negotiated something better amongst them, or you thought it was like you didn't really?
I wasn't doing it for the money, bro. To this day, I'm not doing it. That's ain't really like. It's never really like a thought for me. It's like it's a good side pocket change at the time, yeah, but nah, ain't about the money.
You did it for more like credential resume,
yeah,
just so you see if you can do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, what was the first year of you being a coach like, and what was your team like? Because I feel like with coaches, because I also coached the boys basketball at PS44 with Joseph Ojo.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Ojo. So I see what it's like when you have to like kind of like work with different groups, develop camaraderie around themselves, try to discipline them, try to find ways to help them become better without breaking their spirits, pushing them to the limits. And you got individual players who they shine obviously sometimes light years above everyone else, but they also might have some kind of like behavioral issue or some kind of like internal issue that you got to deal with. So what was your first team like?
That team, first half of the season was very, very frustrating. Because, mind you, like, I was coaching. I was assistant coach. So I wasn't in charge of everything. Like, I came in practice, give my input, and that was it. But now I'm coming in practice, and everything revolves around what I got to do. And I have to deal with, at first we had 16 kids, and I had to deal with them on my own, like, basically, basketball-wise. And now I'm starting to, when I first was coaching, it was sophomores and juniors, and seniors and juniors mostly. Now I'm dealing with freshmen and sophomores, bro.
And they're not mentally even,
childish. And I'm at a school where, Van Arsdale High School, where it's not a basketball school. Like, I came from a basketball culture. Like, Curtis was a sports school. 95% of the people that went to Curtis came there for sports or nursing.
Yeah.
And The basketball team, everybody that played for that ball team played basketball from middle school up at least. Most of us from elementary.
And a lot of y'all, without a doubt, could have went to the next level.
Exactly. Now, I'm dealing at a school where the basketball history is actually shitty. They don't really have a good winning record. They ain't really start having a winning record until basically 2014 when I got there. So, and this is very new program up where now I got freshmen and sophomores who aren't really basketball players. They just kids that like the thought of playing on the basketball team. So they don't understand. They never really played. 90% of my team never really played organized basketball, first of all. So I got to teach these kids how to deal with a coach. Like, not even basketball skill shit. Like, I just got to teach them about coming to practice. Like, doing it throughout the week. Going to school, then coming to practice. And shit like that was hard for them to understand. And that was the most frustrating part with me as a coach because I couldn't comprehend that. Because I always understood it because I played basketball for a while with teams and all that. The ones that did play basketball before high school was street ball teams. They not practicing. They just come together. They play for that tournament that day. They don't got to worry about a coach holding them accountable. And now I got to tell them, like, yo, you got 75 average. You're supposed to have an 80. You can't play.
And a lot of them, I don't know really the demographic of your students.
It's Black and Spanish kids.
Yeah, so they like, yo, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, like my best player, probably my best skilled player, ended up never playing a single game for me because he couldn't get his grades right. And that was one thing I always held like to myself. Like I was like, yo, if you can't hold down an 80 average, you can't play for me. I don't care how good you are, whatnot. That was like my first thing. The moment I got the head coaching job, because that's how Thornhill was with the varsity team as well. So I was like, I'm gonna just follow that same method. Like, if you can't get an 80 average, because in my eyesight is in the long run is gonna help them. You need that average anyways, because it's all accumulative when you're trying to be eligible to play with NCAA. So that was like, and my best player never played a single game, and he ended up quitting. And he was going through his own shit as well. Like he had some problems in school that I guess he ain't really fuck with school like that. You know, like some of these kids be. But I had some kids that did like they were hardworking, and we started off slow because I had a lot of learning to do as a head coach as well, and I definitely did them a disservice based on I just had lack of knowledge early on. But second half, I don't remember exactly what we did that year, but I'm pretty sure we were like undefeated the second half of the season. And every team the teams we lost to in the first half, we beat in the second half. So that's how I took it. I think we finished third. We were tied for third. Yeah, it was tied for third. Yeah.
That's good work. Okay, so you said that you had a lot of learning to do.
Yeah.
Towards that basically helped you propel your second half.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you felt that you needed to learn in terms of how to be a good coach?
Managing a team, plus being able to connect with that younger age, getting them still listen to me and take me serious, while still not being someone they hated or someone that they couldn't relate to. Because I feel like when players or kids you train or whatever, if they can relate to you and they feel like you someone that truly care about them, they'll listen more. And I was coming from dealing with older kids who knew what it was already to kids who didn't really know what to expect. And it took me a while to understand that they ain't know shit yet. But they thought they knew shit just because from watching the NBA, for example. So I had to deal with a lot of childish shit that I definitely struggled with and ran home frustrated a lot, and it was testing my patience a lot. So I had to deal with that.
So what makes a good coach a good coach?
Good coach, someone that cares about their players first of all, their future, whether it's basketball related or not. Coach that manages a team well, on the court and off the court. A coach that utilizes the skills of their team to the best of their ability. Because a lot of coaches, from what it seems like, they come in with a system they want to run and try to make their players fit into that system. Instead of, I feel like it should be the other way around. you look at what the group of players you have and their skill sets, and then you come up with a system that fits that skill set of what they have. If you have athletes, you play a fast-paced game. Sometimes you don't have those athletes. You got a bunch of kids that is shooters and are slow on their feet, so you play a more half-court game. Just little things like that, and so you adjust to the players that you have. I think that would be a good coach.
Okay, all right. So first set wasn't really Gucci. At what point did you At what point did you realize like you guys had started to gel like as a team? Like what were some of the things that you started seeing really come together, work for you guys, that you realized like, all right, we might have something here?
We played John Jay. Yeah, it was when we played. It was a away game. John Jay. Actually, it was a funny day too. I think that was when I realized because we had last before. Because I got to the school first before the players. Because the other two coaches, they already were in the school, and I'm coming from Staten Island, so instead of going to the school and then going to the other school, I just went straight to John Jay, and they brought their players. So I was there. I was sitting down in the gym for a minute, and the team ended up pulling up. I had this player, he was a freshman, but this little nigga had a full beard, bro. Looked like a grown man. He walks in, and the athletic director of the school walks up to him and shakes his hand. I was like, "Oh, how you doing, coach? Really wanted me to take your team." My job, I've been sitting there for mad long. Not a single person spoke to me. And the kid's like, "What the fuck are you talking?" Like, we talking, he's mad confused. It's like, my coach right there, pointing at me, and the athletic director turns around, looks at me, like, "Oh snap! I thought you was one of the players." And then that really was what I had to deal with from every team. Everywhere I went, they all thought I was one of the high school kids. Cause Andre, I'm young as shit still, and I didn't always have the facial hair. Now I do got the beard, but first I didn't.
Shout out to the beard,
yeah,
man.
Shout out to the beard, yeah. Shout out to the queens that helped that count. What up, Fred? What up, Fred?
Tantalizing. Shout out to these queens. We appreciate you.
But yeah. So that led to me and that team really off rip. People was laughing, so the move was it was just like a good vibe off rip. And that was when I first tried. I tried this press and defense. It was a 1-2-2. We obviously practiced it already, but it was the first time I was actually having them play it. And we started off, it was shaky with it. And the first quarter, super shaky. We was losing. Second quarter came, something clicked. I don't really even know. I can't really remember exactly what I said to them or whatever, but something clicked, and they started playing super hard and smoking that team. But it's a team that previously, when we played them at home, we lost to them. Now it's the first time I was playing them since then, and I just implemented that press, and that press had that team completely shook, and we ended up winning because of the press, forcing a lot of turnovers, and we ended up running with that press for the rest of the season. And that was my biggest lesson of the JV level, that fucking press, because half these kids don't really know shit. I think one thing I realized was the same things I was dealing with, problems I was dealing with my team, the other coaches definitely dealing with it too. They were dealing with kids who they didn't really know shit either. But they thought they knew shit, so when they see press, they would still try to dribble through it. And that was one problem I had to deal with my players. I had to teach them to pass through a press and actually run the play. And that was my biggest thing, having them to still be able to run the play while being aggressive. Because, these little freshmen, they go back to instincts right away. So the moment something ain't really clicking right, they start wanting to dribble through and try to do everything on their own. And that was a problem we had. And it clicked in my head, every other team is dealing with the same problems, just in a different way. So I decided to use the same weaknesses we have, fix those weaknesses, obviously, but the way to counter those weaknesses was with certain defenses. I used that defense against other teams, since they had those weaknesses as well, and it worked. Press at JV level, man, that shit works. I should have learned, though, because Arch had us pressing all JV.
No, I hear that, because we had that at Wagon 2. He was definitely pressing, but I think that when it comes to coaching, what I've also known, like, and I think we kind of hit on it, but we really didn't really speak too much on this, being able to relate to your players.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something that Wagner had a huge issue with. Like the coaches were cool, but I really don't think they really understood who their players were, or really could connect to them on that level. Cause like even like when I look at Wagner, but I also give Wagner credit though. Wagner creates players, like from all levels, football, basketball. Like they have some people come in that are good that play, but a majority of the team, they're raw talent. They're just super raw athletic talent. We don't usually get height, so when we do get into these positions, like I know Wagner right now is killing a lot of schools on Staten Island, but before that, a lot of it was just
That's
like raw skill, like raw talent, just raw like bodies that go and workhorses, but they don't ever like, and it's always been like that for a lot of times. But looking at basketball now, right? So you went through that year. What have you learned about your team, and where are you at now as a coach?
Me as a coach, I don't really want to be a coach anymore. I don't even consider myself necessarily as a coach. I like training more, and when my academy becomes where we plan it to be, that's really what I'm gonna be focused on more, and I'm not gonna be coaching at all. But I'm a assistant coach for the varsity team now because I stopped coaching JV because I want to focus more on the academy, and I just knew I couldn't fully, because now like I miss some practices for the varsity team, and you can't do that when you're the head coach of the JV team. You can't miss practices, so I knew I didn't want to do that as a disservice to the kids. Now they got a kid. He's not a kid because he's actually older than me, but it's his first year coaching in JV, and he's actually doing a really good job as well. But our varsity team we in the what is it, semifinals? Well, it's the Sweet 16 of the city playoffs, playing the number 2 team in the division Tuesday, Murray Bertram.
Shout out to Murray Bertram. Yeah, they've been tough.
They actually really good right now. So that's what my focus been on right now. Has been that varsity team in the playoffs.
How do you prepare for a team? So when you look at like the Murray Bertram, right? What is your approach going to be like going against that team?
Well, the first approach is scouting the team, trying to find as much information you can, what defenses they run, the offense, what players they have. Try to get some game film. That's like my thing. It's been my thing when I was assistant coach earlier, and then it's my thing now. I watch game film a lot. I even watch it a lot as a trainer. That's how I learn and how I'm able to like come up with drills and stuff to implement certain skills. But I will watch, like for Murray Bertram, I've been watching these 3 tapes that I was able to get from other coaches and stuff that we have connection with that played them early in the season. And I've been watching a lot of game film on them and use the game film, see their weaknesses and strengths, tell the head coach. And the head coach, he comes up with a practice plan for a game plan for us to attack them. And that's basically what we've been doing.
So do you believe that 3 tapes is enough?
I mean, at the high school level, 3 tapes is more than enough. Ain't too many teams you finding 3 tapes on a high school level, or finding people that's willing to give you 3 tapes.
Like, what do you have to do to get tapes from people? Like, it's just
for example, the head coach that's there at Van Arsdale right now, he was a JV coach previously, like I stated. So he's been coaching for a while, so he has connections with a lot of coaches that he's coached against throughout the years. So they friendly, so they just ask him like, yo, you got any game film on them? And that's just what it is. Like, you just ask. You're lucky enough to get it. Or I was at a CYO game and I was just watching one of the kids I trained, and I seen the Nudo coach there, and Big E. I don't know if you know him, but I asked. He used to coach the CSI when he was in high school.
Okay, if I see
big dude.
I just gotta see faces, man. Yeah. I've been out of the basketball circuit in a while, but I'm trying to get back in.
I asked him like, yo, I seen them 2. It was him and the Wagner assistant coach sitting there. I went up to him straight up. I was like, yo, this is before playoffs even started, because we had a game Friday, but I already knew we was gonna beat that team anyways, and I knew we was gonna match up with Murray Bertram. So I was like, yo, we got a game against Murray Bertram. I didn't know anything about them. That was literally what I just did. Like, came out right. Like, they ain't even have to say hi, bye, nothing. Y'all know anything about Murray Bertram? Let me know. And they told me what they knew. And That's basically what you got to do sometimes. Just
The network.
try to get lucky, then get some information. And the other assistant coach, he went to watch Murray Bertram's game from their last round game, so he came back with more information on him as well.
Okay, I like this. Okay. All right, so you say that you don't want to coach anymore.
I wouldn't say
It's not so much that you don't want to coach, but you know,
it's not my
passion.
end goal.
Okay.
Yeah, because coaching is good. Yes.
But it's time consuming.
Nah, it's not even that. The impact ain't the same. As I definitely want to focus more on the middle school level, and I also want to focus more on just being a mentor to these kids through basketball, which is the focus of our academy. It's using basketball to help kids reach their potential. Whether it's basketball, yes, if some of them are good enough to go D1 or whatever and go play pro at some point, yes, that's the goal, obviously. But also helping them academically or financially to help get them out there to see new shit, take them on trips, like take them to colleges. Because some of these kids, they applying to these schools and their parents just don't got the money to send them to those schools to have a regular, just a visit to see the school. Like, so little things like that is what we plan on doing, help mentoring them, do everything, SAT prep, everything. So it's all about the impact, though. Is that the impact? And I realized that this year that I wanted to focus more on impacting the kids, and that was because I got this kid. I ain't gonna say his name because it's like his personal business, obviously. But he one day was in practice. He got hit hard, like I think he went for a layup and got bridged or whatever, fell down. We all thinking he was hurt, blah, blah. He laid there for a while, got up and just ran out the gym. I run out there, obviously to see it. I ran after him, obviously to see if he was hurt or anything, and he just started bawling out, crying. But it wasn't like I'm in pain type of cry, like I'm injured or some shit. Like, this little nigga was crying like his soul out, like, and he broke down and was just like, he feels like he's depressed. He feels like he's dealing with depression. Like, he couldn't explain it. Like, he doesn't know exactly what it is, but he was like, how he can't sleep. He's up late, been fucking, he'll be randomly happy, then the next minute sad. And I'm like, shit, like, these little niggas actually going through shit. Like, and you don't see that because not all of them, if you don't have that connection with them, like I said earlier, you don't know that. So, like, it just, like, when I had that conversation with him, it just had me thinking, like, how many other players I've seen, like, fall through the cracks when I was playing through high school because they couldn't get their grades right or something, or they had anger problems in high school, and nobody even asked what the fuck they was going through. Like, you don't know what these kids are going through at home that they're not even focused when they come to school. Or when they come to school, all they think about is having fun. They want to cut school instead of actually focusing and learning something in school. Why is that they need an escape when they come to school? Like, logically let's think about why there's a lot of kids that stand in the hallways in school. Like, that shit ain't fun at all, but to them it is. Like, why would a kid need an escape when they come to school? That escape should be at home. But a lot of these kids ain't getting that when they get at home. They're not being raised the same way we were raised, for example, with parents who are there. Mind you, but this ain't the case with this kid, because yes, his parents are definitely there and his parents do care. And to this day, he doesn't really know what's the cause of him feeling the way he feels. And he's a super talented kid, skills-wise. But it's something he's been dealing with for a while. And it's been affecting him this year. Like, you can see it. Like, he's been one of our best kids attitude-wise when it comes to practice. Always there, always come with full effort. But this season, he started off, like, coming with lazy. Like, it comes off lazy, like he wasn't. But now when you re-look at everything after what he said, it's like he wasn't really there. Like, mentally, he was at the practice, but his mind was up somewhere else. Like, he's not getting sleep. So, of course, he ain't gonna want to be practicing hard and shit like that. So,
I feel it. So, what do you think that more people can do? Because, like, I know there's like the Unity games on Staten Island, which I'm trying my best, God willing, with schedule like to come back and coach, come back in my coaching bag and show everybody why my teams always go undefeated or lose one game at most during the weekends.
I coached in Unity games too, yeah.
Or how was that for you?
What was that? I was in high school. Unity games, shit, that was dope actually. I remember I coached 1 year in Unity games. It was fun. I mean, you don't look at it as like. I mean, I ain't look at it as me like potentially being a coach at that time. Obviously, it was just something to do. Like, plus I like Unity games. You know how Unity games is. Like, it was more like a social event, like for us. Like, so. It was definitely dope. Yeah.
I definitely would definitely advise anybody who has a passion for basketball, who loves the sport, and may not have all the time in the world to give it to be like a head coach or be super supportive of a program, to definitely take advantage of being a part of Unity games. I remember when we were younger, that was our thing. Like every best basketball player on Staten Island was at Unity games. All the joints who played ball was at Unity games. Unity games was so lit. So lit. I remember I got dropped, I think, and it whatever, because it was a push off by one of them Harlem Globetrotter people when they came in. Dropped me in the game. With the push off. My team was like, oh, coach, you good, coach. These are little kids, man.
One part of the Unity games that we ain't pay attention to when we was in there, that was very important. Why I want to do with my academy something similar to what Unity Games is doing.
All the workshops.
We ain't paid attention to it when we was in middle school and shit. But them shits, I think deep down they played a part in who we are as a person.
So, I agree. But I don't think it was really everyone. I felt like with the workshops, a lot of it I felt wasn't coming from our perspective. So there was a lot of people who were culturally disconnected that were trying to speak to us about things that we just was like I remember when the cops used to do the gun stuff, the gang stuff.
The gang violence shit.
I'm like, bro, you don't know this little man taking these notes and go back to his big homie be like, yo, this is what they say. So I'm like, yo, it was just crazy. But besides that, I think Unity Games definitely served this purpose, especially on Staten Island for the years that's been out here, because just like the kind of personnel that they had, like I look at all of us and all the people that came out of it, and we kind of really internalized it and made it bigger and better. I remember like one of the things I always appreciate is like towards the end of Unity Games, so everybody signs your shirt.
Facts. Yeah, that was dope. That was a little way to bag the little basketball girls too,
No, saying shout out to the little basketball queens.
Facts.
Not even just the basketball queens, the others, the white sisters that was coming.
The ones you ain't really seen.
You never seen the. You go to Gore? You go to Notre Dame? Okay, play travel.
Shout out to a couple.
You know what I'm saying? They love the bar. Oh my God, come say hi. Why you didn't come say hi to my team? I'm just outside.
That's crazy though. A few girls I do know to this day, I met them in Unity Games.
A lot of them, bro. We have a lot of love, man. That's why I look at it.
Unity Games was definitely. Girls y'all would have never seen outside, like. Facts.
And they in the food always had 3 square, anything like 2 or 3 food. You put your backpack that they gave you, fill mass sodas and mass snacks and
shirt,
bro. Yeah. And then at the end of it, the coaches get to pick like the 2 players that they felt represents their team the best. And know what's crazy about that I always really appreciate now looking back at it is like, it was really the team. Like, usually like when you have to say I'm the MVP, like the MVP or whatever, the team was always super supportive. It wasn't like the team was like, nah, I should have been there. It was always like, you know what? I ain't even mad.
Yeah, facts. It was just like the whole vibe was more like a camaraderie. I can't even say the word right. But it was more of that. Like it. I feel like I guess that was the whole point of the whole thing. You actually became cool with these people. Like I still remember like my team to this day. Like I'm cool with those same dudes. Like when I see them, like we still have the same connection. Like and to this day we still talk about it. Like shout out like Denzel for example.
Shout out to Denzel. That's my brother.
Not Zell. That I'm cool with. Not like an actual bro. Zell. Edna's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
He was on my team in Unity Games, and I never knew him. He went to 61. I went to St. Peter's Middle School. So I never would have met him, and he didn't live in Park Hill either, so I would never met him in middle school. And I met him there, and every time I see him, like on a ferry or whatnot, still talk about it or some shit like that.
That's love.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk high school basketball, right? What players do you see are really killing it in high school basketball circuit, and what opportunities are out there for like young players who are trying to kind of get to the next level but don't know how to go about it, or may not have the support to become one of those guys that's on the scouting scene, or can play on the age, but they could definitely ball?
Well, players I see, I'm naming people that aren't like big names. Uriah Logan. That's Didi, right? Didi, little brother.
Word.
He's at St. Peter's Junior. He was on Junior on St. Peter's. I think he made the all Catholic Staten Island team as a junior as well. I train him too, but I ain't just saying that because I train him. But kid is legit. I think he's everything you would want in a point guard. Like, he think the next level for him is learning, because he's super fast, learning his change of pace and improving his jump shot a little bit. But defense-wise, I seen a matchup with R.J. Davis. He's this kid that he plays for Stepinac High School. They're one of the best high schools in the nation, actually. And I think R.J. Davis is going to UNC. I've seen him playing against him, and he ain't lock him up, I would never say that, but his defense was top notch. Like, he can definitely be a D2, low D1 athlete, definitely. And my boy Jaheim Tyson, he plays for me. He was on my JV team. He's a junior right now, and when I say hard work, and that kid, he came in, he was tall already. He was not super tall. He was like 6'2" and came as a freshman, but ain't really has skills that much, but had a motor, like, and that's from that summer, because with the team, since I've been coaching during the summer, the team is basically mine. Like, I put them in the tournaments. I've been training them. That's been always since I've been coaching. So during the summer, he's the only one in the last 3 years he came to every single workout. No matter what time I say, no matter how late I schedule it, for whatever reason, he's there. First there, last one to leave, and that shit paying off to this day. Like, he's getting some looks now from some D2s, and he still is hungry to become a D1 athlete. He's working on all his floors, and he does that on his own. And I definitely respect him for that, because I don't think I had that what he got. And for more Staten Island kids, that junior from Noodle, I think his name's David. I seen him at the championship game. I think he put up almost 40 against Peters.
He put 40 pieces against
championship
Peters?
Game. Facts. White boy. I think he's white. I don't really know, but kid is nice. He can shoot.
So definitely. He just be pulling.
Yes, with confidence, and he got a killer in him too. Like, they were down at one point in the championship game, and that nigga was like calling for the ball, like, give me the ball, pull that shit in their face. He made that shit too. But he got that killer in him. Let me think. In the Brooklyn circuit, there's these twins that play for Banneker High School. Legit. They legit too. They're nice. And as far as your question is about what I would recommend kids to do in this era, they got something that we didn't have. For example, technology is their friend. It could be bad for them as well, but technology, they have the ability to get their game seen by a lot of people, but a lot of them don't utilize it the right way. They make, for example, they make these highlight tapes. I see it a lot. They make a lot of these kids. They put highlight tapes online. They show like the flashy stuff, the ankle breakers and stuff like that. And for example, one thing they do that I hate, and I've actually found out. Shout out to TJ Tibbs, who I hit up.
Shout out to one of my OGs.
Yeah, my OG as well. Like, I hit him up whenever I got a question about coaching or just colleges and stuff like that. And he hates it as well. And he said other coaches hate as well is the kids who they'll post them dropping somebody, and then they'll start showing them pulling up for the shot, but they'll switch it right away from there because they missed the shot. And he said, and he told me off right, and he was like, "Yo, when you making your highlight tapes, because I make highlight tapes as well for my players myself. So he was like, when you making highlight tapes for these players, don't ever, 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 ever do some shit like that, because that's the worst thing you do." Now that just tells a coach that you just care about the highlight. You don't care about the actual bucket. Like, you showing the fact that you dropped somebody, but you missed the shot. So is that really a good play?
Yeah, no, of course not.
And so it's things like that. There's a lot of you can use technology to your advantage. Post your game. Put yourself out there. Like, don't be shy to send your tapes to coaches. Learn the rules for the NCAA recruiting calendar. It's all online. It takes 2 seconds to Google. Y'all Google everything else. You can Google that as well. If your coaches aren't trying to help you out, because I know not every coach is like the coaches I work with. They're not always gonna want to help the kids. If your coach ain't gonna do it, you do it yourself. It's your future you're fucking with. Like, at the end of the day, you put yourself out there and try to play AAU. The way the basketball scene is going, from what I see, AAU is gonna probably end up being more important than high school basketball. Like, actually playing for your team.
Because we see it even now, like, just sports across the board. There's so many more leagues now that are making a lot more money. That's showcasing like very competitive games with competitive players that are high level, high profile players.
Mm-hmm. And play for a school that gonna put you out there as well, high school wise. And I feel like that's been the flaw of Staten Island for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the schools, they don't, because the coaches are actually in charge of making a schedule, the non-league schedules, like the schools against schools that's not in your division or you're not in your league, for example. So these schools have to do better jobs of trying to set up games in tournaments, in-season tournaments or off-season tournaments during the summer or whatnot, or spring, against these other high schools that are getting good looks as well. Like, it's like stuff like that, it helps. Like, just having your kid play against another big name, for example, like Uriah, for example, right? That's just news. His team, for example, playing against the Stepnac team, where they had R.J. Davis, who's going to UNC, and then they had another kid that's going to Duke. I can't remember his name right now. Another big that's going to Duke. He didn't play, but just imagine that attention. I went to that game, and that was probably one of the most packed St. Peter's game that I've seen in a while. Like, and I've been to a few of Uriah games, and that's only because that Stepnac team was coming in. Everybody knew about the two kids that was coming in that was going D1, and it brought a buzz. Now, if you play against that team and you go off, everybody's like, "Yo, who the fuck is that?" Now you start getting a little buzz off of their buzz. Sometimes that helps. It helps the kids who aren't getting no buzz. That little thing can help, and it plays a part. And so that's on the coaches as well, to try to schedule those games if you're able to. If not, if you're a school on Staten Island that you're not very good, right? Still schedule a game against a school that's not on Staten Island. Try to schedule more games in Queens or Brooklyn, Manhattan. Even if it's a bad school, sometimes it helps. You have these kids playing against kids that aren't who they used to, because we all know our Staten Island is so small. The people you see playing for these schools on Staten Island, in public schools or Catholic schools,
you've been playing against them your
playing them since
life.
Middle school.
You've seen them boys. You know exactly
we know what they're
time
good at.
it is,
We know,
man.
like, and you know how it's easier to play against people if you've been playing it for a while, because you know their flaws, you know whatnot, so you're more comfortable. When you're playing against a kid that you've never seen before from another borough, you gotta step your game up even more. And I know from how we thought on Curtis, like, when we go to these Brooklyn schools, we just playing. Our mindset was we playing against the crowd and the refs, because the refs are gonna suck the Brooklyn teams. They gonna be on their side for the most part. So you gotta play 10 times better. And that's how we thought.
And then with the crowd, you got all the little shorties out there that never seen you before.
That's that part of the game too.
You got the location where you at. You trying to come through a show out. You got people that is like it gets real like intense.
It get crazy too, cause remember our JV year, Thomas Jefferson dudes definitely try to jump us after the game.
I'm worrying too.
Shout out to Jermaine for that. That's Jermaine's fault. Nigga Jermaine hit a buzzer beater. Double overtime to win the city chips. And they dad was about trying to jump us after that game.
Most intense place you've ever played at? Either you as a player or coach?
Intense play I've played at? Curtis. Them Curtis games at home in the jungle. I'm talking about the old gym, not that shit they got now.
Mm-hmm.
The old gym.
The corner,
like
you didn't have no corner three.
That gym, like for example, when we played Port, like when we played like Port or McKee, those games used to be super. Like it wasn't like a tough game necessarily, but like just the energy with the crowd.
You knew what it was. Everyone knew each other.
Everybody
so it
knew
was
each
like,
other. Yeah, it was more lit. Like, or like that Thomas Jefferson game was intense as far as like having to deal with the crowd just wilding out at you and shit like that. Or as a coach, playing against Banneker High School. I think I was just talking to Khalil about that the other
shout
day.
out to Taco, man.
Yeah, because they just lost to that Banneker school in the city playoffs. And the first thing he was like, yo, playing at that gym is tough. Because facts. Coaching against them is tough. Like, their crowd is reckless. And they just got a bop. Like, they got that swag in that gym. So it's super tough. And I've been coaching against them for the last 5-6 years. And it's always been tough playing against them. Always.
Okay. So we said that, and it's crazy. I didn't mean to go back to this, but I wanted to touch on it real quick. Speaking about like some of the things that hold back Staten Island basketball, because right now we see a lot of talent. Like we've Staten Island, everyone can ball. Like everyone can play basketball and everyone can play football. That's the two things that no one can take away from Staten Island sports: basketball, football, and baseball. I'll throw baseball in the mix too, right? But in terms of basketball, what are some of the other things you feel needs to be improved upon so that Staten Island athletes can get the attention that they need, or basketball players need to get the attention that they deserve?
A lot of people probably ain't gonna like this, like the old heads.
Man, fuck them niggas, man. Talk your shit.
But especially since like Staten Island, we don't have a lot of public schools compared to like Brooklyn and Queens. So I really think a lot of these kids, like these top kids with talent, should all go to the same school. Go to the same school and take over New York City. Like, just think about it. For example, I used when we were in high school. Let's think about it. Imagine if Day-Day, Hasi, Dante, Kwame, Deb, Eli, for example, from Petrides, Osa. Let's think about if all of them, for example, were on the same team.
But it would be no Staten Island. But then you gotta think about it. What you risk is that there's no Staten Island competition. There's no.
Yeah, no, that's 100% fact.
Well, that's low key debatable.
This competition was still shitty. I keep it a buck with you.
Yeah, but you know what it was also? I felt like a lot of people at that time also weren't just trying to play basketball. Like, I think it was like there was a lot of talent that we will never speak about because they either was too in tune with the streets or like they started to do other things, or some of these Staten Island schools do not allow you to play multiple sports. Because for example, I got ostracized for I was the basketball player on the football team. I got ostracized for being the basketball player on the football team. So you got to think about what that's looking like. There were some kids that played football that were better at basketball, but didn't go to the tryouts or didn't play on the team because they were a football player already. They joined the football team. So it's like, I think that's definitely another one of the issues that I think.
That's true, yeah.
Because
it wasn't like that, Curtis.
Oh, nah, Curtis, you had to pick.
Both, yeah. You play both.
You play both?
You can play both. Josh played both. Josh played JV, up to JV. I don't know if he's decided to focus on basketball more for his varsity, but he definitely played up to JV, played freshman team and JV. Even Hasi, for example, played up until his sophomore year. There's right now on varsity, there's a Curtis varsity team. The kid, Tibbs, I think his nephew or cousin, think his name's like Sam Martin. One of the best.
All the Martins, bro.
Nah, he's not. He's not Martin.
Really?
He's not. I don't think he's related to them. But he's a football player. He's like one of the best running backs in the East Coast. Like from what I see on like Twitter and stuff like that, this kid's getting a bunch of D1 offers as a sophomore. He's a sophomore, and he has a lot of good D1 schools to play football. But he's playing for Curtis Varsity as well. And I think he's solid on basketball-wise too. He's obviously a football player still, but from what I've seen, I don't really know him like that. I didn't really pay attention that much, but he plays both. And I don't think I can't speak on that because I ain't played two sports, but I did play volleyball for fun. But
that's a different conversation.
We can talk about that too. Right? But from what I've seen, you can play both. Because I think even if I remember correctly, like Dom Easley even played basketball too. Facts. I think he played basketball as well. Yeah, he did. I think up to varsity too. He played.
Yeah, I think that's usually Curtis, once you get to varsity, you can't really. You have to pick one.
Yeah,
because they talk about scouting and then weightlifting and stuff like that.
But back to that though. Just think about if all those top athletes on Staten Island went to the same school. Cause I'll be honest. I know from when I was in high school. Us at Curtis, we ain't really respect none of these Staten Island schools. We went undefeated for 2 years on Staten Island, right? And when we played against the Brooklyn schools, we got some L's against them. We beat some of the schools now, but now let's imagine that since there's no competition anyways, right? Mm-hmm. Because our Curtis team was always above most of the.
It was stacked. It was like it was a Staten Island Black All Stars. That's really what it was. That's really what it was. It was the Monstars
like we was just talking about,
North Shore.
Our bench.
Could start
us,
anywhere else.
Who barely played our junior year was starters on most of these Staten Island teams, right? Now imagine if all those stars played on one team. Since we don't got to worry about the competition because there's no competition. Now they're competing against these Brooklyn schools. Imagine the attention that will bring to these future Staten Island schools. Now, all it takes is one school to put that borough on a map to take over and actually have a legit chance to win cities. You win cities, now, like we didn't even win cities and we brought a buzz to Staten Island. Like I told you, for example, when I got my coaching job, the assistant coach at Van Arsdale, a Brooklyn school, knew about Curtis because of our team. He knew about that team. Now, and we lost in semis. We lost in semis and quarters. In 2 years I was on varsity. And he knew about that team, though. Now, imagine if we actually won. That buzz that would have created in more schools. Curtis right now is still creating a buzz too as well. But it would have been even a bigger buzz. And it leads to more exposure for the Staten Island kids as well. Because now there's more coaches and more people paying attention to the circuit that we have on Staten Island and the talent that we have there. Yes, those kids you probably not going to have the big numbers because you're on a team that's stacked. And that's how it was at Curtis. We didn't really have much people averaging. I don't remember, like our senior year, I think Hasi, who was the best player, averaged like 14, something like that. But there was kids on varsity averaging like 20-something. Look where Hasi ended up. Look where they at.
Yeah.
So winning games, it brings more attention as well.
All right, I like it. All right, bro. Well, if anybody want to get in tune with you, get in tune with your program, where can they go to do so?
Oh, well, if you're looking to train, you got a little brother or whatnot that likes basketball and is willing to work, because I don't chase people. That's one thing I wanted to talk about too.
Talk about it.
I was just talking about it with Doug Elway. He's a trainer as well.
Shout out to my OG Doug.
He went to Wagner, right?
He
didn't go to Wagner. He went to Farrell.
He went to Farrell and then he went to Wagner College.
He Wagner College, but he teach and coached at Wagner too. I believe.
Doug Elway, I was one of his first. I was his first team he ever coached at Uni Games.
Okay.
So you got Cletus on the team. You got Doug. I'm coming with that energy.
Yeah. So I was just talking to him on Instagram. He had posted something on Instagram about it's crazy how you see all these coaches and trainers recruiting these kids, these middle school kids at their CYO games. Mind you, when I was talking about how I went and got scouting report from high school teams, that was because they was there. So I went to those games to see my player that I was training just to show support to him. But there's literally these coaches and trainers out here that go there and they're trying to recruit these kids and they're talking to their parents and bigging up their heads and all this different shit they promising, all these shit. And to me, that's sad. I feel like as a trainer, word of mouth should be enough. If you're good enough, that one kid that you train, either his parent is gonna end up like recommending you to another parent, or the parents of that kid's team is gonna see the jump in that kid's skill, and they gonna ask the parent like, "Yo, what have you been doing with your kid to get him like? I see the improvement. Like, how did he get that? Like, and that'll lead to you getting more clients. If you have to go out and try to convince a parent to bring your kid to train with you, you just living off of popularity, or you just trying to. I don't think you can be that good if you have to do that. Yes, it's a slow. Maybe that's the faster way, but me personally, my biggest thing is I'm not forcing anyone to train with me. If you want to train, you gonna come there. If you want to put the work in, I'm not gonna keep texting you, calling you to tell you to come. You gonna come. If you want to put the work in, you go out. You text me like, Coach Mogson, is the gym available today? I'll come in. Or your parent would do that, or whatever. Like, if you're a young kid, I get it, but I can't be like begging you like, yo, the gym is free. You trying to come get working? You ain't really want to work. If I gotta be behind you to put your work in for your dream, like, I want to help you, yes, 100%, but I need them to show initiative as well.
I feel it.
Right.
Oh, last question. So what is some advice that you'd have? Because, we have a lot of talented young basketball players coming out the hood, but the hood the hood is the hood. It's going to take you in. If you're not making no money off of sports, they're going to find another way to get money. And that sometimes requires a different kind of focus that sports doesn't low-key give them. What would what would you say in terms of like those kind of players that they have tremendous upside, but just the realities get in the way of it?
Your friends will always be there. Like I'm talking about like the bad friends, obviously, the ones that are like the hood shit. Those same people that be on the block, promise you they gonna still be there. And that was the first thing that I learned. My cousin, God rest his soul, Paper, this was 8th grade. I remember there was like a big brawl in Curtis. This was before I was in Curtis. I was going to St. Peter's, the old St. Peter's, obviously, the one on Richmond Terrace. There was a big brawl between like these like blood niggas and like Latin King, I believe. And it was like right near the courthouse on the terrace. And my dumb ass being like a little follower, hearing that as a big boy and running there. Like, I literally like ran from, how deep that shit is, to the courthouse near the ferry. Like, ran just to see a fucking fight. Obviously nothing happened. I didn't get hurt or nothing. I didn't really even jump in a fight or nothing. But I was there. My cousin Paper found out. And my cousin Paper, he was in the streets and whatnot doing what he's doing. And he told me off rip. He was like, yo, you a baller, bro. Like, let me not find. He literally like was about to fuck me up for finding out that I was there, and he's always been like that. I've always been around him, and that was the timing he was on. That like, stick to what you do. Like, don't be a follower. You don't like them same niggas gonna be there. And I've seen that same shit happen when I went away to school, came back, seen niggas is still in Park Hill, doing the same shit that was there. So you ain't gonna miss shit out. It's for the kids that play ball and you got talent and you feel like because I think that's the main thing that hurts some kids is that I forgot what that FOMO, right?
Fear of missing out.
Right? That's what it is. A lot of them they want to still be lit, still trying to have the fun and whatnot. To this day, at the age I'm at now, I still do that kind of like, you still want to be lit and be around. But it's always going to be there. You always want to have that chance to be lit, or I guess to have fun or be with your friends. But you got one chance to actually work towards that goal. One chance of high school. Your 4 years. And that one chance can go by quick. 4 years seems like a lot, but it's really not. And if you don't do what you should be doing in high school, you will regret it eventually. And that's normally what happens with a lot of my players Like, yo, Coach Mogson, he was right. Like, every year there's at least 1 or 2 players that come back. Like, you know what you used to say and warn me about? He was right. Like, I should listen. Like, and it hurts. Yes, like, everybody likes being right, but I ain't trying to be right that way. Like, I want them to realize that in high school, that them 4 years go by quick. Use it to your best advantage.
Real G shit. Man, I'm blessed and highly favored to have my brother here, man. Like I said, if they want to find you, come look with you, where can they go, my bro?
Instagram is Coach Mogson. That's you're not gonna see much. Keep it a buck. I don't like social media that much. I try to stay in tune with it because of my academy, definitely. And but Instagram Coach Mogson. My Twitter's Coach Mogson.
What's your academy called?
Academy is called Eyeball Academy. Oh yeah, that's the Instagram for that too is Eyeball NYC.
IBAL.
IBALL NYC. And Coach Mogson, that's Coach Mogson. That's my name.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you. Shout out to everyone who's tuned into Talk Ain't Cheap podcast. Shout out to my mom for getting recognized by council member senator. I don't know all these political stuff. I'm still learning this stuff. Diane Savino and Assemblyman Charles Fall, as well as Debbie Rose and everyone else. There's a lot of folks that gave my mom some certificates for the work that she's doing in the community. Shout out to Staten Island Black Heritage for awarding me influential Staten Islander. That's love. God bless. Shout out. Thank you so much for the recognition. And shout out to Amoy Barnes, who's running for councilwoman in 2021, and I will be right there, God willing, by her side to help her get that victory. And y'all know the rest, man.
Shout out to y'all for the store too.
Thank you, bro.
Shit's dope.
Appreciate you. Oh, we actually got a program coming soon. We actually have a program to teach people how to have their own stores and their own markets and do business stuff like that. So 2020 is gonna be 2021 is gonna be a good one. 2020 is gonna be dope too. And y'all know, like I said, thank y'all for tuning in to Talk Ain't Cheap. And y'all know slogan's not that deep. Survive.